Hello everyone and welcome to another Total War Warhammer live BattleCast. In this game we're going to be playing the Vampire Counts and we are facing off against the Beastmen. Almost forgot there for a second, it was a bit of a long load time. But regardless, we're going to be taking a bit of a tactical risk here. So you guys can see I do have two Banshees, which if he doesn't have Lore of Death are going to be very strong. They cause fear and terror. They do have that nice ward save of being ethereal against physical damage. So if he doesn't bring Lore of Death, we're going to have a pretty big advantage here. The Banshees are good at chasing down Gorbals, and on the way to chasing down the Gorbals, they're going to tear out a lot of those relatively low leadership frontline units. So hopefully that pays off for us. We'll see, guys. It's a bold move, Cotton. Well, it's a bold strategy. That's actually the line from the movie, so I always mangled that pretty horribly. But yeah, so the Vampire Counts did get some nerfs in the most recent Norsca patch, but you know, it's fine. I mean, they got the Raise Dead nerf, which is 19 seconds, I think, now, but still, like, most of the times when I use Raise Dead, you know, I'll cast it and then, you know, forget about it, and, you know, by the time I look again, it's usually up, even with the 19-second change, so it's really not that big of a deal in my opinion. But again, it is going to lower their power level, because people who did min-max that really well and were, you know, really on top of casting it like every 2 seconds, they're going to take a big hit, but, you know, with how I was using it before, it doesn't seem to be that bad. And they needed it. That was a pretty abusive mechanic for sure. But aside from that, Cryptors did get a little bit of a cost increase, and, you know, nothing else really. I mean, nothing too punishing. So we do have Vlad von Carstein in the front line. He's a good choice against the Beastmen because he is pretty tanky. Master of Beguilement is an extremely good ability to use against Gorbals and different things like that. So hopefully he can, you know, do the job. We do have some Direwolves on the far side, and they're just to kind of harass raiders and go after some low-tier units. And if he doesn't have, like, a big cav force or, you know, any raiders for us to go after, we'll just keep him in the back, and, you know, as the Beastmen units flee, which they do often because they're pretty low leadership, we can then just go snacking on them. Cool. So good luck to my opponent. Let's get this battle rolling. So he does have the Eye of More Sleep. Man, I'm never going to get that right. I know I've gotten it right in some casts, and other ones I just mangle it, but again, guys, just know I'm trying my best. So he does have the Warp Gaze. We need to be conscious of that. So what he can do with the Warp Gaze, which is the ability on this big bad boy right here, is he can, oh, damn, I hate how that works. I actually have to, like, zoom in on his face. He can snare one of my units. It's basically like FG of the Get on a pretty short cooldown. So he can do that, snare some of my units, and does that thing do magic damage? Oh, it does. Man, he's targeting the Banshees. That's crazy. All right. Mind games action going on. But for his caster, let's see what he's got. So for his caster, he does, and I think it only has magical, no, it has magical melee attacks. So we basically just need to keep the Banshees away from that monster. And if we do that, we should be fine. So we're just going to go rotate around the back, get ready to put a little pressure in. He has spears, he has Bestigors, he has Worker, Beast Lord actually. So going a little bit more economical, which is pretty common actually with, you know, with the advent of these more expensive regiments of renown. So he's going to be advancing his front line, and even though he has better AP than us, we should be fine with the Mortis engine. The Mortis engine is going to do very, very well against the Bestigors. So we're going to try and get on that eye. That's going to be, you know, our best bet here. And you can see we're taking some work here. So we're going to go ahead and invocation this guy, try and keep him alive, keep him next to the Mortis engine. And our main line, we can go ahead and get ready to engage. So let's get these guys here. We'll get Vlad and company on the Korax Man Rippers. And I have a feeling our front line's going to get evaporated pretty hard here. We'll get the Mortis engine right there, and the Skeleton Spears we'll keep here and here. All right, great. So we do have the Blood Knights on the far side. You can see my opponent forming a bit of a defensive perimeter. So we're going to slam into the back of those Bestigors. And I wonder if we can get the Hounds on that guy for a moment. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. These Hounds we're just going to leave on feasting duty. Great, so we do have this this ability online here. So the Mortis engine is going to get targeted, so we just need to pull back. And we need to get the two Banshees and just have them go after Gorbal. That's literally going to be their entire role in this game. Vlad in the front line, he's able to summon some zombies, which we're going to pull on the back of these Korax Man Rippers. These Skeletons, we're going to intercept these Spears to try and, like, open a pocket here. And the Blood Knights, you see, got a great little collapse on those guys, and they are kind of terror routing here. And our Mortis engine's still in good shape. So with Vlad, we can go ahead and cast the Master of Beguilement right here on this Gorbal. And where are our Banshees? Are they coming? Oh, they're kind of trapped up. So honestly, let's go ahead and pull our Blood Knights back here. Skeleton Spears, we can go ahead and also pull into the center pocket, just because that's going to be a very, very contentious point where he's going to be trying to get that Mortis engine. Great. So we're going to summon some more zombies right here just to give us some more density. You can see the Banshee is now fighting the appropriate target. Nothing's really fled yet. Some of those guys did get terror routed initially, but nothing terribly devastating. So since there's no targets for us to charge, we're just going to charge in the front line and go after Bestigors with our Blood Knights. And we do have this Von Hill. So let's go ahead and pop this to give them a little bit of speed. We need to get that Mortis engine back in the main fight. It's going to be very, very essential. And let's charge into these Bestigors here, go up and around the back with the other group. And yeah, everything's going to code. So if it goes into an atrocious kind of knockdown, you know, drag out style of play like this, we can keep these Banshees on the Gorbal, and Vlad can also get there. And we should be fine, I think. We're going to cast an Invocation from the Heck a little late to the party. But we're doing some good damage here against some of these Bestigors, but we want to pull back. We don't want to engage on Spears. And he did catch our Hounds. We weren't paying attention there. So very well played to my opponent. Cool, so we do have this Raised Dead, so we're going to go ahead and raise that over here on top of some of these Bestigors who are getting pretty tattered up here, and he's not really able to get down my Mortis engine, so things are going pretty darn well for us. We're going to cast that Invocation now, which I think we actually weren't able to cast before. Let's pull these guys up and around, see if we can start rear charging, and just keeping this Mortis engine tight. So even though we don't have good AP, the Mortis engine is going to compensate for that. He's really chasing those Hounds off into the distance. And those Bestigors here, we can totally slam into those guys. That's going to be a great low engagement for us. So the vampire counts here, again, the Banshees doing great work. And I'm telling you guys, they are a great hard counter if you're expecting Gorbel spam. And where do we have? Do we have any more zombies? And you see what I mean? Like, the zombie nerf, it's good. It makes it more reasonable. Before, it was pretty absurd. But now, like, I have to wait and, time it out. It's still very strong and, a staple of vampire counts play. So he does have the Sons of Goros actually on the far side. So I don't know if he was doing a delayed engagement or was waiting for me to, kind of show my hand in some respect. But you see we're able to get that Gorbel. But the Sons of Goros, I think, will still lose to the Blood Knights. It's hard to say. So we'll chase those guys down right now. It looks like he is coming up and around the flank. So what we're going to do with Vlad, and you can see the zombie summons coming in, so we're going to raise some dead right here in the back just to kind of protect and, just treat ourselves. So the raised dead, boom, right in front of those Sons of Goros. So they're going to get a charge, but nonetheless, we should be able to kind of, mitigate any damage they're doing. Let's pull these guys in the back to kind of surround my opponent in. Let's pull these guys over here to get on these Ungor spears. And you can see the Sons of Goros are kind of just getting, just handled right now a little bit. I mean, they're fighting zombies and getting drained by the Mortis engine, and Vlad, of course, is doing a good job. But you can see that that Cygor is doing a really good job against the Banshee. So I like that my opponent included that. That's some fancy business. So we're gonna get the other Banshee up here. We're just gonna kind of focus on some of these Bestigors and just crumble what flanks we can, taking advantage of our mobility. And he does actually get a decent little surround there. So we're just gonna go ahead and summon some more zombies right on top of these guys, which is gonna really inundate them. We'll pull this Mortis engine back to the main fight, and just keep doing our thing. So we do have this, what is it called? The Master Beguilement, which actually, man, was Vlad just standing over there for a long time? I sure hope not. But anyways, the last of our forces should collapse here, and we're probably going to be able to break these guys with leadership. And yeah, he does have some best scores coming back, but let's get a little bit of charge action, and I'll try and give you guys some cinematic love here. So we're going to cast Von Hels to give them melee attack, and they're going to come in and, oh yeah, they're going to get some lancing. Blood Knights have pretty cool charges for sure. It's very like impactful with a good charge bonus. And you can see those best scores are in pretty bad shape. Sons of Goros, though, a pretty good regiment for now, and I definitely think you should bring them in most matchups. They have great stats. They're armored, and in a lot of matchups, Centaurs with great weapons are going to be fighting Reichsguard and these different guys, and they trade very attritiously. But now that they have armor, they can actually be much more durable. And of course, having the Guardian next to your Beast Lord is not bad at all. So it looks like from there, it's going to be a mass rout. So GG to my opponent. I don't know. I think one of the issues obviously was that if those Sons of Goros were delayed, I'm not sure if he was like chasing. I think he might have been chasing hounds with them. I can't really tell. I didn't see him early on. I think maybe he had him hiding. Who knows? But regardless, the Banshees worked out well. This guy was a bit of a menace. The Eye of Morsleep. He had that warp gaze, and then also has the magic attack. So I did not know he had magic attacks. Very well played. So guys, we're gonna make this some double trouble here, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Maybe we'll play a few more Vampire Counts games. Make it like a all Vampire cast. Vampire Counts versus Norsca is actually a really fun matchup. I like using the Cryptors and kind of using them to obstruct the massive mammoths, because mammoths, like, if you don't bring Cryptors or big mass units against mammoths, they will just run shop on your infantry. Like, your skeletons and Graveguard and like all that stuff will just get melted so incredibly hard. It's really tough, guys. But yeah, Vampire Counts are in a good place. I still think they're a high tier faction. People aren't playing them much since the patch. But, again, I still think they're incredibly strong. So, all right, so let's see what we get here. Maybe it's going to be a rematch with our good old pal here. Yeah, and this has been happening to me quite a bit lately, where you'll go in and go into a live BattleCast, and well, not live BattleCast, but you guys will be playing quick battles, and then you get stuck on, like, the waiting or found match screen for so long. So, all right, so let's play Vampire Counts again. Vampire Counts versus Greenskins. This is a pretty good matchup for the Vampire Counts. It used to be. Now, with the advent or kind of nerfing of Raised Dead, and I know, actually, you know what? You guys were asking to see Norsca versus Greenskins, so let's see if he'll stick with this. That would be pretty fun. So we're gonna get Throg Daddy. Do we want to get Throg Daddy? He's pretty good here. He's tanky. He hits hard. He's got regeneration, but I do want to get Mammoths. So we're gonna get Throg. We're gonna go a little bit cheaper on him. And for our caster, let's go ahead and get the Metal Caster. Again, Metal is just extremely good now. I shouldn't say Metal is extremely good. I should say Final Transmutation is extremely good. So Transmutational Lead, probably not going to be bad against the Zergs. We'll cut Searing Doom, and this is a very expensive kind of kit here, so maybe we'll cut this and just get Searing Doom, because this and this right here, like, you kind of have to choose between, one or two of those. So we're not going to get a Skinwolf Werekin, but we are going to get the Soul Crusher. We're gonna go crushing some souls for sure. And we'll get some Skin Wolves. Do we want to get the Regiment for now? We're already having like a really expensive army here, which is a little bit scary. We'll get one Skin Wolf, one Norscan Ice Wolf here, just to kind of deal with Biggins. I mean, honestly, these guys can deal with Orc War Boy Biggins really efficiently. So for the main line, we probably want to get more of a durable main line. So we're going to get some champions here, which are very, very expensive, unfortunately. The Berserkers, Brutes of the Hound, are pretty good here. They trade well with Biggins. They will not trade well with Black Orcs, which we may be seeing. So let's go ahead and get these guys a little bit high and tight, and I probably should get some Norscan Spears to kind of support the back line. So if he does have an overwhelming, mobile force, we can kind of do our thing there. But let's actually cut this guy and get two more kind of smaller infantry just to have more density. I don't want to have like a super small army against these guys. Cool, so we have those guys. We have the Berserkers, we have the Champions, which will hold pretty well, especially with the support of the Soul Crusher. And you know what? Maybe we need to get more backline pressure. I think that might be the case. So let's get this, because the only way he's really going to punish the Soul Crusher is with missiles. So I think if we just chase the back line like really hard, then maybe we'll be able to take it. I don't know. We'll find out. Cool. So good luck to my opponent. KBSTN. Should be a fun time. I love the Greenskins again in this patch, though, against Norsca. Like, they're so good. At least from my experience. I mean, I haven't, played too many Norscan players as Greenskins. I've only had maybe 1 or 2 matches, and my very, very anecdotal, limited experience in that matchup says that the Greenskins are very good there. But the Mammoth is definitely one of the keys to victory against them, because in the matchups I did bring, my opponents didn't bring Mammoths, so I was able to really just kind of overpower them with infantry. Because Greenskin infantry, Black Orcs in conjunction with the Wa, and just the pure aggression they have it's really tough, even for the Norscan Berserkers to manage. The Greenskins can definitely run you over, so. But Greenskin infantry, Black Orcs, and Biggins are both pretty vulnerable to Mammoths. Like, a single Mammoth charge against both of those types of infantry is just very, very devastating. So, but the Restiers and Goblin missiles can really put some work in on a Mammoth, and Orc Boars with their anti-large and AP can do some good work as well. So we need to have some relatively efficient counterplay with the Skin Wolves and all that. So, all right, cool. So let's get these guys going here. I guess this is just going to be our core right here. So we'll just put these guys like so, and yeah, man, I really don't like having thin front lines. It makes me a little bit paranoid. So we're gonna put the Soul Crusher right there. Throg can kind of help support the middle, because the middle is probably gonna falter if anything. We'll put our caster there, and we need to be really aggressive with our pressure, like with the back line. If he's able to have free flowing Goblin back line and he really efficiently protects it, then we're gonna be in some trouble, guys. Cool. So the spears can just be in the back, and we probably want them on this side, because if anything, I think the boars might come around my exposed flank. Yeah, we'll just put them right there for now. Great. And we do have the Skin Wolves over here. We'll put the Norscan Ice Wolves, who do not have Vanguard, over here, and then we'll put these Warhounds over here. Great, so we need to be really aggressive, like I said, at pressuring the back line, and let's party. Cool, so we're going to start advancing on our opponent here. We got to just get our fluffs running up and around. We'll get our Skin Wolves over there, and these ones can go up and over here. Great, so he does have an Arachnoid Queen, so man, some King Kong versus Godzilla action. Biggins are very good in this matchup. They can not beat down, well, I don't know. I think I'd be interested to test. I think the Berserkers would win head-to-head simply because of that enrage mechanic, but it's hard to say. So he does have a pretty mobile force right here, so honestly, what does he have? Three of the Orc Boar Biggins. So let's pull in and get a little bit higher and tighter, because that's a pretty overwhelming force for sure. So right now we're just going to scout for, the other, threatening units that we may run into, and we're going to get these spears over here, and let's put them in group 5 and just run them over to help out. Great. So we should be able to kind of do it with the spears and everything, and let's get these guys engaged here. Throg can go here, and Throg is going to be really, really good against those, against the frickin' the spider. Cool. So the Mammoths are going to charge in the Savage Orcs. We do have this charge in the back here, and it looks like the Skin Wolf engagement is about to go into function here. Great. So everyone's going. Everyone's having a good time. The Mammoth did get in, do some shock damage, but we need to pull it around. We need to be very aggressive. And Throg, we need to make sure he doesn't get, like, just beaten down by all these very powerful lords right here. But the frontline engagement seems to be going okay. Throg, we're doing a bit of a tactical retreat, and then we're going to re-engage. Now that he's, like, not the center of attention, we're going to get in there and get down and dirty. So the Mammoth is just kind of marching through the infantry, and we're going to overcast this. Oh, yeah, the overcast costs a little bit more, actually. But the infantry battle over here, the cab battle, looks to be going pretty well. We were able to kind of shatter those Savage Orcs, so let's pull all these guys in. And Throg, we could have him throw up, but you can see he's actually, did he terror out that Goblin Big Boss? That's awesome. It looks like that was probably the Soul Crusher, actually. So Soul Crusher, we're going to pull back. Throg, we're also going to pull back. And we do have the overcast now. So we're going to overcast this on Wurzog. And man, this is a very, very risky engagement for my opponent. Coming in that close to him like that, man, that's dangerous. But the Skin Wolves and everything over here, actually faltered a little bit. I mean, now for the cost, we did pretty well for ourselves, I think. So the Hounds, we need to use them to chase down all these scraps in the back, just make sure they don't come back. We're just going to use the Mammoths to kind of, run down some of these Biggins and different things like this. And Throg, he's keeping Wurzog in the middle for the War Paint to kind of, buff up everyone he can. But again, that's a very risky, especially with that freaking overcasted ability you guys just saw. We did some serious work with that. So Soul Crusher, let's pull it in here to kind of crack my opponent's last pocket. That Arachnoid Queen's in pretty bad shape, but Wurzog is frostbitten. He's just been taking a beating. We did get the spears over here on his cab, so from there we were able to do it to it. So well played to my opponent. Let's jump into game 3. That was a real quick one. So, but like I said, the Mammoths were good. He didn't have. I mean, the spider isn't going to stand up to a Mammoth. It's. I don't know. Maybe it would with the poison. No, I think the Mammoth has too much HP. I think the Mammoth would win, and its AP values are just off the charts. It's like it has like 400 armor piercing damage, but nonetheless, and yeah, that was the Soul Crusher too. So the Soul Crusher. So yeah, guys, let's go to game 3 and, see what we can get rolling here. But if he had some Goblin missiles pressuring me, and also I think he kind of forgot about his cav engagement, and, it was very even. And my spears got in and, like, started fighting, and I had the Frostwolves kind of frostbiting his Orc Boars down. So then maybe they just couldn't do an efficient tactical retreat, and maybe that's why he stayed. Hard to say. All right, guys. So let's go to game 3 here. So let's see who he wants to pick. So I'll tease the Greenskins. I'll tease them. And if he picks Norsca, we're just gonna be so happy. I hope he picks Norsca. It's a really fun matchup, and it's one that I kind of want to hash out a little bit more. So he's sitting on one of the Bretonnian sub-factions, which I don't even know what they're called. And yes, he does pick Norsca. So I think we actually have a build saved for this. Yes, we do. I don't have too many builds saved, but I have a few. And this one I really like quite a bit here. So we'll give my opponent a minute. I know sometimes if you just auto-lock right away, people are going to, dodge out because, you don't have enough time to build your army. So we do have the Biggins here. We also have 2 Black Orcs, and that was kind of what my opponent's front line was missing last game. The Biggins did okay, but when the Soul Crusher got in there, it was brutal. Savage Orcs are all right. I'm not a huge fan of them in the matchup. I don't know why. Even with physical resist, you think they'd be good, but the Black Orcs are just so armored. Like, they can deal. Like, and Norsca usually brings Berserkers, thinking they're going to have, a shirtless wild battle with blades and axes and everything, but the Black Orcs are just so heavily armored. Like, Berserkers do nothing to them. They just get cut down. Goblin Archer is very important. You can see I do bring a ton of those. I have the Durkit Squigs to help support the front line, get in there and poison. And then we have the Broken Tusk Mob and the Orc Boars over there to kind of harass, and Wolf Riders to just chase down javelins and things like that. Orc Warboss and the Wyvern. Very important in this matchup, guys. He's quite strong. He does have poison now, so any Wyvern-mounted Orc Lord is going to have poison, including Azag. So you don't need to bring the Spider Banner. The Spider Banner actually just got removed, which I think is great. It's a nice little change there. We do have the Little Wah with Sneaky Stealin'. So Sneaky Stealin' is... I mean, if you're a Greenskin player, it's pretty much a staple of competitive play. If you guys are playing Greenskins, you have to bring it. Just bring a Goblin Shaman, get Itchy Nuisance. If you want to use Big Wah, just get Itchy Nuisance because it's really good. And then, bring Sneaky Stealin', and it's going to heavily hamper abilities. Like, if this guy's going metal and looking to overcast, let's say, a Final Transmutation, and he starts with, 14, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to get to 25 Winds of Magic, which is, that's so powerful, especially against Lore of Life and different things like that, so... Alright guys, so we are back with the third and final game in this live BattleCast series. So I actually decided to jump out and cast this game separately because when we played live, there was a ton of lag. It took 20 or 25 minutes to get this 6 or 7 minute game done. The units were literally waddling across the map. It looked like it was in slow motion. So I figured I would cast it separately. And hey guys, it's Norsca versus the Greenskins, and I know a lot of you guys have been wanting to see this matchup. So you guys already saw my my army composition in the live portion of the gameplay. So we're going to go ahead and jump over and just take a look at the Norscan army. So for his army in the front line, he does have a combination of the Marauders with a few Chevrons mixed in with some Berserkers. So the Berserkers will trade pretty efficiently with Biggins. It seems to be like a pretty back and forth trade with the Berserkers winning slightly. Or maybe, they'll be at 20%, give or take, and the Biggins will be kind of, done for. But for the most part, these guys aren't a bad choice, but Black Orcs are a little bit of a mind game tactic. Granted, they do come in small numbers, but Black Orcs will pretty much crush any of the front line of Norsca. But then the counterplay to the Black Orcs is using these Mammoths. So if his Mammoth gets a really good charge into the front line of my Black Orcs, that is going to be very, very devastating. So this is the Greenskin build I've been bringing against the, I was about to say against the Skin Wolves, but that I've been bringing against Norsca, and it seems to work out really well. You got the front line of Black Orcs and Biggins, but the Goblin Archers are just huge MVPs here. They can take down Mammoths incredibly quick, so hopefully I can showcase that for you guys. So he's got Berserkers. He actually has a ton of Javelins, which I haven't seen in this matchup, really. I mean, they theoretically would do pretty well against, Biggins and against Orc Boars and, things like that, and against Wyverns, perhaps, because Wyverns aren't heavily armored. Let's actually see. So my Orc Warboss on a Wyvern, he does have a shield, which is nice, but he only has 70 armor, so if he's able to get a little bit of a volley there, that should be pretty strong. He does have some armored Skin Wolves on the far side, which I don't recommend bringing armored Skin Wolves against the Greenskins, because the Orc Boarboy Biggins, which are going to be one of their cab choices, obviously the most popular cab choice probably, do have pretty good AP values as well as anti-large, so you're not really getting your bang for your buck, you're just getting slower Skin Wolves. So he has those guys. He has the Beasts of Tashnar, which are the Hounds here. They do have an anti-large bonus of plus 14. Personally, I think the Norscan Ice Hounds are just straight up better because they have Frostbite and they have 40 plus weapon strength, and the Frostbite is such a game changer, guys, I'm telling you. So, so that's pretty much it. He does have a Skinwolf Werekin, no caster. He decided to kind of omit a caster and go very, very wide. Granted, I think, that's probably a good choice against Greenskins because with the Sneaky Stealin' from the Little Wah, you're not going to get much magic off anyway, so I really like that my opponent kind of, didn't go that route. So guys, looks like I do get my Goblin Wolf Riders over here in the forest. I was looking to kind of overwhelm this flank. So I figured he didn't have any spears or really support units to kind of come over here and help these guys out. So if I could just bully him, push up and around with my Orc Boars and just kind of, overwhelm them. Because he did commit over here to the far side with these Skin Wolves. So basically I just detach some of these Orc Biggins, make a little bit of a battle line right here to kind of zone them out. And then my Orc Boars are going to overwhelm this flank. So I'm going to come in pretty hot on the side and then just try and collapse down and, take out all these different Marauder Javelins. So you can see my opponent doing a little bit of a tactical retreat here, but I'm pretty hot in pursuit. So Skin Wolves versus Orc Boars is it's a very tough engagement engagement for the Orc Boars for sure. The Skin Wolves have a good anti-large, pretty good stats, across the board comparatively. Their weapon strength is, their melee attack and melee defense is better. But when you bring the Orc War Boss, it changes the whole dynamic. So you guys can see here, the Skin Wolves are going to collapse with the Orc Boars. There's going to be some lances going on, but I do have this Orc War Boss in the back who's going to be getting some heavy-duty poison and armor-piercing attacks on these guys. Plus, I'm going to be dropping the Wah. So the stats are going to, pretty heavily favor me. You can see the melee attack of these guys is now 98. So these Skin Wolves are going to take some massive burst damage. So he does bring in the Beast of Tashnar here in the back to kind of help out. And in the meantime, my Goblin Wolf Riders in the side are going to be jumping on his jabs. So the Mammoth is coming in as well. But what I did against the Mammoth is, even though the squigs are pretty small, they do have decent mass. So you guys can see these squigs right here that are like caught up in its tusks. They're literally going to hold this guy up and just and keep him from getting through, which is so funny. People don't take that into account, but that's one of the reasons I bring those squigs. So you see he's blocked up here. He's trying to push through, but he's just getting peppered by goblins. I have these goblin archers here, these ones, all 4 groups just shooting this guy down. He's already at half health, and it's just a huge massacre. So I dropped the Itchy Nuisance. He's also poisoned from these squig hoppers, and you see how 1 or 2 squigs is just screwing up all of his movement. It's so incredibly powerful, guys. And then you can see the Marauder Chieftain just goes down like it's nothing. He's down to 3,000 HP. He's just getting put down pretty bad. So that's pretty funny. I love the use of those squig hoppers like that. So in the front, you can see the Biggins are engaged against the Marauders here. And, the standard Marauders actually held up pretty well against Biggins. I mean, I think he did have, he had 2 groups here. That's what it was. But nonetheless, they're not doing half bad at all for their cost. I mean, they cost like half as much. 10 kills, 33 on the Biggins. In the middle, the Black Orcs obviously performing as expected. I got sneaky stabbing on them, and they're just beating down these Berserkers. They took a little bit of shock damage because that's where the Mammoth came through. It came right through them and did quite a bit of HP damage. But over here, kind of the Berserkers actually did much better than expected. They were able to kind of just slay these Biggins. So very, very well played by my opponent, getting that ideal engagement. But nonetheless, my Orc War Boss is coming in. He's going to be able to jump on the back of these guys and is definitely going to poison them and, rout them off. He has enough armor to, be a threat. And regardless, the Biggins, even though they did lose that matchup, they're still going to do very well against the Berserkers. They're going to get in there with their high weapon strength and cut these guys down. You see the Squig Hoppers in here as well, decapitating some of these guys. And it's been so long since I've seen one of those eating animations. I hope we get to see that in this cast. But regardless, the Marauder Berserkers are going down here. You can see the Skin Wolves on the far side. They were engaged with Biggins for the most part, and Biggins trade pretty well with Skin Wolves. Even though these ones are armored, they still, have an anti-large bonus, pretty good combat stats, and it's not going to favor the Skin Wolves. So in the back, the Wolf Riders are still kind of trolling about. You can see my Orc Boars are kind of just engaged on some of these Javelins, which actually, it's not the best engagement. Like these Javelins, they don't have anti-large, in their melee, but nonetheless, they're trading pretty efficiently back here. So I definitely need to, but they're still very low tier, so I'm going to win it, but I'm still taking losses is what I'm trying to say. So the Orc Warboss over here is popping his Wah on the main line, which is going to, probably tip these Berserkers over the edge, or these Biggins over the edge against these Berserkers. I also dropped Itchy Nuisance, and the Goblin Missile Fire is so good against Norsca. It really just peppers down the Berserkers who have, like 10 or 15 armor, give or take. So it's a really good engagement for me. So you can see a lot of his infantry line is collapsing to the Black Orcs here. They were able to just push back these Marauders and support some of these Biggins on the far side. Some of my Goblin Archers in the back still doing their thing, having a good old time. And he does have the Skin Wolf Werekin in here, but the Skin Wolf Werekin, he's poisoned right now, and the Orc Warboss is not a pushover, especially if you drop Sneaky Stabbing. He's going to be pretty darn strong. So you can see some karate kicks coming from the Night Goblin Shaman in the back there, and it looks like things are going to get wrapped up here. So well played to my opponent. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that live BattleCast series. It was quite a bit of fun, and yeah, again, sorry for having to tack this on afterwards. Hopefully you didn't mind, the cast in this way. But yeah, well played to the Wizard. I don't know if it was myself or him that had the potato internet connection. I'm pretty slow over here in Poland, but I don't usually lag during the quick battles. So yeah, who knows, guys? It was quite a bit of fun, but I liked his army. I liked the experimentation, trying to get the javelins work. But the armored skin wolves I would cut. Definitely would bring some Norscan ice wolves. He needs to win that cav engagement and be pressuring my back line. That's like the bottom line. He can't let those goblins and the rest of the others just fire all day. It's a pretty big deal there. So definitely, if you're playing Norsca against Greenskins, I haven't played the matchup much myself, but I would think that you would need to get your backline threats in position. You get your Skin Wolves unified, then on top of your Skin Wolves, you have two separate angles of attack with Norscan Ice Wolves or something, and then from there you can really kind of take the game. I think so. Very well played to my opponent, the Wizard. Look forward to seeing you again on ladder. And hey guys, thanks again for watching these live battlecasts. Have an excellent night and take care.